Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. Lorenzo, Phan, talking with
Kevin Hord.
How you doing, buddy?
I got a leaky pipe in my basement.
Oh, boy.
Nobody cares. We can move on.
Boy.
I'm going to call.
It's all good, man. Good. Yeah, don't try and fix that one yourself, please. Don't make it worse.
I will be working on trying to fix it. I'm going to put a Band-Aid on it.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That'll be good.
Today we'll be talking about the Clone Wars, episode 20 of Season 2. We have a little jump from release. We went from, Season 2, Episode 14?
Sounds about correct. Somewhere around there. 14, 16,
yeah,
something like that.
So we will be talking about Death Trap today as the episode. This episode has another split release date. It released in April 17th of 2010 in the UK first, and then April 23rd, 2010 in the US the following week.
I like that. That's nice. I did not catch that.
Yep. So, I don't know why this one went back to a split release after the other few did not. Although, honestly, I think we've talked about some of the episodes prior to this, and I feel like we've talked about the split release before, so I feel like maybe that's because we're not watching these in release order, we're kind of skipping back to when they were doing split releases. Anyways, the fortune cookie for this episode is who my father was matters less than my memory of him.
So I have two opinions on this.
Yeah.
Opinion number one, which should be opinion number two, but it's not. Opinion number one is once you watch this episode, you're like, well, I know who said this.
Yeah.
I am going to not bring that person up, and I'm going to if I just had watched this episode and like fortune cookie comes up and I hit pause, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first people that pop into my head are Luke,
Yep,
Rey, and Ben Solo.
I didn't think Rey. I was thinking Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And also I was thinking Obi-Wan talking to Luke to calm Luke the fuck down after Luke finds out who his father is.
For sure.
Right. So, like, as an advice thing given to Luke, because Luke is in, like, that freak out mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we get, well, it was from a certain point of view, you know?
Right.
But, yeah.
The reason that I said Rey is more because of, like, the fan theories of about... That would be like Rey talking to all the fans after The Last Jedi.
Well, like, the reason I avoid Rey is because... Does she have memories of her parents?
I mean, she's got that one flashback of like a ship leaving, and that's about it. But
then that's like a forced flashback given to her, not her own memory per se, right?
Maybe she just doesn't talk about it. Like Leia can remember her birth mother for the 5 seconds that fucking Padme was alive,
right
before she died after Leia was born, right? So, Rey. Yeah, for sure. She can. Yeah. She has some memories. Maybe.
Okay.
Possibly.
Maybe. We'll see. We got a year-long wait to see if anything gets answered. We'll see if anything gets answered.
Less than a year now. We are in 2019. Happy New Year's, everybody, yesterday. So, yeah. Happy 2019. How's your 2019 going?
I'm assuming it's going fine.
Yeah.
By this release, I'll still be in Michigan, so maybe not so fine, depending on how the weather is holding out.
Right. Take your winter coat. That's all I can say.
Yep, I got it. It's sitting over there.
So yeah, I for sure, Luke. This this is a good.
I'll agree with
Luke,
you on that one.
Good Luke quote. I like it.
Yes. So I agree with you there.
One note before we hit the newsreel is that this is the episode that came out after the Zillo Beast duology.
Ah, yes.
So it's been back in the end of November, 1st of October 2018 when we covered those 2 episodes. Zilby Strikes Back had our friend of the show, Ryan Hopp from Science Sort Of. That was a good episode. You guys should go back and listen to that one. But this would have come out the following week.
Okay.
So, that being said,
very interesting.
Let's hit the newsreel and keep on rolling.
Yeah, so we're coming off of not a continuing story, so the newsreel is pretty expository. It's given out a lot of information. Anakin and Mace are traveling together aboard a Jedi cruiser, the Endurance, and they get to rest a little bit. There's no actual battle that they're headed towards. So that's about what we get there. We kick in pretty quickly to a squad of, I guess, younger clones.
Yeah, they're called clone cadets, so I just called them cadets throughout the entire episode.
Yeah, the Wikipedia gave a piece of information that I don't know where they got it from, but it says that they are a squad of chronologically 6-year-old clones.
I can tell you where that came from.
Yeah?
Okay, I can't tell you where that came from yet, but I will cover that later. Teaser.
Okay, that's fine. That's A-okay.
Yeah.
So they are being talked to by a trooper, and they are on their way to the Star Destroyer Endurance themselves.
Yeah, they're getting lectured by some old bald ass Friar Tuck haircut having trooper.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the best of my recollection, I don't know if this guy is ever given an actual name. I'm sure that he is at some point in time, but
as far as I know, he was not. Not in the show, anyways. And actually, through the brief jumping into Wikipedia, I didn't see anything about him there either.
He doesn't even have a number.
Yeah.
BT Bald Trooper.
Got nothing.
132087 or something. No.
We got nothing. So, anyways, there are a lot of clone cadets that are there, and it's interesting because they are visually different. They all have different hairstyles, and they even have different voices, which I found interesting when they're speaking to each other.
Well, I mean, the clones do.
Not as different as these cadets do, though. Like, the clones still kind of have the same bass tone, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Some of it makes sense to me only if these are clones that are in different quick developmental stages of growth.
Okay.
Some of them have a deeper voice closer to some of the adult clones. Some of them kind of put on this, or they have that more childlike higher register in their tone. So that was kind of the first thing I noticed beyond just the physical differences. We get a pretty quick introduction into 2 of the clone cadets very quickly, and one is Jax and one is Lucky. All the other clones are kind of picking on Lucky.
Yeah, and so most of the other clones are kind of, or most of the other cadets, I'm going to call these the kids cadets and the adults clones. So that we can differentiate. Yeah. Of the cadets, most of them are kind of bland or neutral looking, right? Jax has this swooped kind of Superman hair, and Lucky has like a longer hair, not quite to the shoulders, a little bit above that. So kind of
he's got like the Harry Potter 4 haircut.
Yes, but without the hairspray.
Right. Yes, split down the middle, kind of parted there.
So we get a docking sequence with this, whatever it is. It is a something. It's a frigate.
What?
What are you talking about? Cadets are on.
Okay,
on a frigate. The frigate docks with the good guy Star Destroyer. So we get that scene, and it's like a super dramatic scene with this telescopic thing coming out and all kinds of dramatic music and whatever.
And like the music is very loud and boisterous and
it's ostentatious,
it's weird.
If you will.
Yeah. It's an odd little scene. But anyways, so they get onto the big good guy Star Destroyer, and Windu and Skywalker are there to talk to them, and Skywalker is showing off a little bit. And Mace Windu is kind of like, yo, bro, what are you doing? Like, they're just kids. Just ease up on that a little bit.
Yeah, Mace is not too pleased. Did you catch the terrible, terrible cadet, like, background chatter? So
I saw
this show does pretty well when there's like a group of clones or something. There can be like that ambient, like, conversational whatever going on. Usually they do that great. With the cadets, they did not do that so great. It was like like everybody's dialogue was like isolated. It was like, yay! Oh, all right, this is great. Right. A Jedi. Hey, we're gonna go over there.
Yeah. I did. That's right. I did think at that time, I was like, this is the worst of the worst non-playable character dialogue that pops up in video games.
Yeah.
Right? Just all thrown in a blender and just tossed into this episode. Yeah, I agree. It was rough.
Yeah, not so great. But our Jedi get called to the war room by Obi-Wan Kenobi via a clone. Obi-Wan's not on the ship, but basically it's like, hey, we need you guys for this holoconference call. So they head off. That's when Mace starts bitching at Anakin about being a show off and whatnot. So
yeah, Anakin's like response is that the clones or the cadets will learn even as he's showing off. Something like that. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically lame excuses.
Right.
But Mace Windu is basically like, yeah, not everybody agrees with what you're saying, Skywalker, so just shut up and let's go do the thing that we need to do.
Right.
We cut to what I called like the gun room. It's not really the bridge, but there's some big type of blaster cannon or something.
Right. Like if this is a pirate ship, it's like the lower quarters where the cannons get pushed out the side of the ship.
Yep, totally agree.
Right. So, yeah, they're practicing some shooting using some like skeet, which they describe as being malfunctioning droids that they're shooting out.
So I think that's just the
joke.
The clone that is sitting at this gun, like one of the cadets says, "What do you use for target practice?" And he says, "Malfunctioning droids," and looks down at R2, and R2's like, "Ay."
Starts, yeah. Yeah, he goes Alpha 5 on all of them.
Yeah, I was thinking he's got like a chopper moment from Rebels, but Alpha 5's even better.
Yeah, it's clearly a joke because we see the skeet discs and they are very uniform and there's nothing off about them. So they line up a few of these cadets to have a go. They sit in the seat. And there's a clone that specifically sits in a seat to shoot the skeet as well, which I think is a weird use of space on the ship.
Yep.
Honestly.
There's like a skeet shooter position.
Right. And I don't know what practicality that spot would have when they could put another actual gunner perhaps on that side.
I mean, I'm pretty sure on like modern day tanks, like next to the ammunitions officer, they have like another guy that's like, I'm gonna throw rocks out there and then you shoot the rocks. Like, there's targeting practice is done somewhere else, especially in this like technological age of Star Wars. There's like all kinds of sims and whatever else.
Absolutely.
There's pilot
well, we
training,
saw an episode with that. Yeah.
Right. So that's where it would be. It would not be on
an actual Star Destroyer.
Right.
That could see battle at any goddamn moment.
Right. But, we have the benefit of some skeet shooting showing off to the cadets. So Jax is the first one up. he fails.
Misses his target. Yep.
He wants another chance. There's another bald character that is introduced.
Yeah, he's not named until much later in the episode, so should we just say the name for our sake?
Sure. His name's Killian.
Yep, Admiral Killian.
And so he's got a real thick Irish accent. Which...
I noted, this is funny, based on the last episode we recorded, but chronologically came out much sooner. Right. I pegged it as Scottish.
Yes, I will agree
not
with
Irish.
You.
Yeah,
but Scottish is, in my opinion, while watching this, close enough to Irish that I thought it was interesting that his name was Killian because there's a Killian's Irish Red Ale. Mm-hmm. But now that I think of it, the supervising director or the art director, supervising art director, is Killian Plunkett. So more likely it was named after him and not
specifically Irish.
Yeah, thing. But you are totally correct. Scottish accent, not Irish.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a Scottish accent. Definitely not an Irish accent. Mm-hmm. It's got the rounder tones of a Scottish accent.
Yep.
So
I totally agree with you. So
anyways,
Commander. He's introduced as Commander.
Admiral.
He is Admiral.
Oh, is he?
Well,
yeah, he's
I don't know
admiral.
that he's introduced, but I feel like he's called Commander. Maybe he's not. Maybe I'm.
I never heard command. I definitely in my notes, and I can fucking show you. I wrote down Commander, and then like later when I heard Admiral, I went back to cross it out because Commander was just my assumption because we didn't get anything. This fucking dude just shows up with this accent.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm doing. But I thought that in some calm interaction with Anakin calls him Commander or something. But anyway, he is Admiral Killian, and I know what you're talking about. I crossed out Commander and wrote an Admiral later because Anakin mentions go talk to the Admiral. I was like, oh, okay,
that's
cool. I was
that's
thinking
what
of
he
it backwards.
Cross that out. Anyways, we get one more cadet having a go at the practice, also misses.
Mm-hmm.
And the clone that's sitting there is like, a near miss is still a miss.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So then we get Lucky, who's kind of scowling a bit, and then it is Killian who notices Lucky scowling, right? And
He's like, I know that look. You're up next. Right. And then the clone in charge of the skeet shoot pulls a total dick move and like fires it off before Lucky's even in the chair.
Right.
So Lucky runs over there, hops in the hot seat, does his little pan and scan with his gun, right? One shot, done.
One shot
kill.
So then the clone is like, well, let's see what what you can handle, and then like the Seppies won't take it that easy on you.
The Seppies will come in like a tri-pattern, so there's gonna be 3 of them.
And so quick succession launches off 3 of these skeets, and Lucky
kill.
is able to gets them all, and they're all impressed, and Killian's like, fantastic.
Yep. So Killian collects up the cadets, and he says, "You're off to the observation room." Either Killian or the other bald. I don't know. I wrote down bald.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I wrote down
one
bald one, whatever that means.
Yeah. So first the actual clone and not Admiral.
I think so. So bald clone BC heads them off to deck 13. Along the way, he is quizzing the cadets, and these cadets are just known by numbers. There's 1151, there's 1174, there's another one. I don't really know. Excuse me. But one of the questions that he asks is how many engines need to fail before auxiliary power comes on? And the answer that Cadet 1174 gives is 3 on port and starboard. Okay, so later we see this ship from the rear. There's only 3 engines on each side.
Yeah.
So his answer is basically like all of them.
Yeah.
Like the 3 on the right and the 3 on the left. Like, yeah, all of them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Trivia, yada yada. Bald guys all super happy about the answers that they're giving, which apparently may or may not be right. I'm not really sure. Lucky at this point looks pretty grumpy. He slips away. He comes out to somebody. He is revealed to be none other than Boba Fett. So this is where that information came from. So in the timeline, Boba would be like 12 because in Attack of the Clones he was 10. So we're looking at like 2 years after that. Okay, which is why the other cadets are said to be 6 because they have growth acceleration.
Accelerated. Okay.
So that they're the same age as Boba.
Yeah.
But Boba is not growth accelerated.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. That is just a lot of steps to get there.
It totally is.
But it makes perfect sense.
And not even to mention that he looks exactly like his 10-year-old self did.
Right.
Anybody with children knows that between 10 and 12, that's a big jump
There's a difference.
in age.
There's a difference.
You know, as a youth, 2 years, you don't necessarily look exactly like you used to. You're the same.
Nope.
You're the same person, but you look a little different
Just
because you've been growing up. You grew up for 2 whole years, man. Between 10 and 12, that's 1/6 of your life, right?
Exactly.
2 years for me, that's like a 0.5% or whatever. Because you know what I'm saying.
It's building on, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I agree. It's an interesting reveal. This is why focusing on the hair at the beginning was semi-important because he has this exact same hairstyle that we saw him sport in Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting reveal. Why he's on this ship is also pretty quickly revealed.
It is revealed in this conversation. He's talking to some off-screen female character.
Yep.
And it comes out that I guess it's not through the comm talk. Like he rounds a corner, he runs into 2 clones, right?
Yeah. So then the clones are like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's freaking out, but he kind of gives them a cover story that he's headed to Mace Windu's quarters for some certain reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the clones kind of there's a small red herring here where the clones are like, "There is a problem.
Yeah,
you're lost."
One of them's a super dick to him. He's like, "You're lying. You're actually lost. You're not looking for Mace Windu's quarters." And the other one's like, "Dude, cut him some slack. Like it's over there."
Yeah.
Fucking
just
third
calm,
door on the
calm
right.
down. Yeah. So he makes his way over.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to the unnamed female voice again via the comm.
Yeah, and at some point she sent him like a data transmission with like what his orders were or something. I don't remember. It was something.
Yeah, I don't. I didn't understand that point either because what he ends up doing is he installs a bomb in the doorway to Mace Windu's sleeping quarters.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand what was necessary about her sending over some sort of data packet or something.
And the only thing that I can think of is if Mace has some sort of encryption lock on his door, and the data transfer would have been the information to open the door. But if that's the case, that's not revealed later. He just walks up and like hits a button, opens the door, sticks this thing on the inside that has like one single laser beam that shoots across. It's like a laser tripwire, but there's no.
Yeah. But there's no other side.
Yeah, there's no like collection port on the other side.
Right.
But I guess
that didn't make sense to me either. But Star Wars science. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he sets up the laser. He gets away.
Mm-hmm.
And he is able to rejoin the other cadets without anybody noticing that he was gone at fucking all.
Right, none of the cadets notice, and he has run into 2 troopers, one of which gave him the directions to Windu's apartment. And then when he leaves the death trap, get it? That's the name of the episode. Haha. He rounds a corner and he runs into none other than Mace Windu himself.
Right. That's right.
So after that, he is able to slip back in with the group. I did have a star next to you. No one notices. The big bald dude is, I guess, has been continuing to quiz these people. So he asks Lucky, who is Cadet 327. And I was trying to think of, like, what the connection is with 327. Like, I didn't know if that was a number specifically picked for Boba or something. The only thing...
I got nothing there.
I got nothing either. Like, the trash compactor number in A New Hope is 3263827, which is like 32 and then it ends in a 7. But that's like a super stretch there. So, I don't know.
If these numbers mean anything, they're going to be connected to, like, birth dates of crew.
Okay.
You know, somebody was born on March 27th is going to be my guess. Or it's literally just 3 random numbers people picked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So.
It's going to be like a Blink 182 situation. So.
It was the Lucky was the 327th name that they came up with for this guy.
Something like that.
Because that's supposedly what the story is behind Blink 182. You know that, right? Like,
that's not the story I heard. What I heard was that they were originally just called Blink, and then they found out that somebody already had the name. So they just came up with 3 numbers to put at the end of it, and they just spat out 182.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that it was the 182nd name that they came up with. So, but I did hear the same thing. Like, Blink is what they call themselves. Then they found out there was another band, Blink. So the 182 was thrown on there because it was the 182nd name that they had.
Very nice.
That seems like a lot, though.
Yeah. No. And also, who's keeping track at that point?
I'm not really sure, but
I wouldn't suspect those 3 guys to be keeping track of that.
Yeah, random tidbit. After Tom DeLonge left the band, I think they should have changed their name to, like, Wink 91.
No, it's all good. I mean, did Tom leave or did they force him out? I'm gonna say they forced him out.
It depends on it depends on who you ask.
That is true. That is true. I mean, but to be fair, the guy is looking for aliens. So
Aliens Exist, man. It's one of their best songs.
But for real, like, I mean,
yeah,
like, aliens exist. I don't think they're visiting us. But I mean, the universe is large.
Yeah.
But just the laws of physics have something to say. So
you never know what could happen in, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
I guess. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, so Mace gets back to his bedroom. He opens the door, and what should be a moment of, like, dramatic tension is not so much.
No.
Where the viewer can see this laser beam tripwire, and the way that Mace, like, almost trips it is not very lifelike.
Yeah.
Because for some reason in this specific door, there's, like, a step up that you have to, like, step over, right?
Yeah, it's like a port door hole situation. It's weird.
And
like,
he also, like, takes a step, like, dramatically slowly, and then there's a clone trooper that runs up and is like, "Hey, Mace, like, you're needed elsewhere." So then, like, his foot reverses and, like, goes back down outside of the door. It's very heavy-handed, ham-fisted, all those sorts of terms you can throw at it. Yep.
Like, there's a different version of the scene that could exist where Anakin and Mace, or Mace and Clone, thinking forward, like Mace and Clone could have approached the door together and then like had a conversation there, and Mace would have just slowly started inching his way towards the door or something like that. But there's this weird, very not natural half-step motions towards this door and the laser wire that are there. I agree, it's not good at all. Like, the fact that we know Mace Windu survives this series isn't an excuse to me. There have been plenty of movies or TV shows or what have you based on real life events where everybody knows the ending. But you can still build suspense. You can still build tension. You can still make an audience just nervous for characters in a certain situation.
You know how many times MacGyver almost died? The fucking show is called MacGyver. You're not gonna kill MacGyver mid-season 4. Right.
No, but just think about like a movie like Argo is gonna be the best recent example that I can think of. You know, like we all, for the most part, knew what was gonna happen in that situation. You know, we knew those characters were getting out of that situation, and yet the last 30 minutes of that movie are so suspenseful and so fucking tense to me that I remember sitting in that theater watching that just like I kept telling myself, I'm like, I know they're going to get out. I know they're getting out. And yet everything in my bones was like, I don't know if they're getting out though. Like there's this weird like animal part of my brain that just still has like the full visceral reactions to whatever situation is present at hand. And that's the mark of a good filmmaker, right? Like Ben Affleck made me think like, no, like I know they're getting out, but why am I so nervous for all these fucking characters, you know?
I felt the same way during the Washington Monument scene in Spider-Man Homecoming. But I think that was more like the visual of Spidey, like at the top of this fucking thing, and I was definitely holding on to my my seat armrests,
right,
and breathing a little more heavily. It was well crafted,
right,
visual
exactly.
thing.
That's the thing.
But we don't get that here.
No, not at all. Like not even close. So that's the one disappointment. The major disappointment of this scene.
So whatever this clone says to Mace, he's like, hey, you gotta go do like this thing. So Mace like hands over something to him, which I don't even know what it is. It might as well be like a pack of matches or something. He's like, put this in my room. So that
which
clone
is kind of annoying to me because it's like it's again plot convenience. And he only needs to get something in the room, but it's such like a weird, you boy, help, the help,
right?
Put this in the room. It's a weird thing, but anyways, it's for plot convenience. Go ahead and explain why this is for.
Yeah, because the clone walks into his room and fucking blows the fuck up.
Yep, he did.
He
real dead.
He real dead.
Yep.
Mace does try to talk to him like, oh, don't be dead. Oh, you're dead.
He's definitely dead, yeah. So he takes the helmet off and everything. Yeah, he's dead.
They make out off camera. Yeah.
So the whole ship goes under alert. Red lights and klaxons are blaring.
Cadets are sent to a safe room. Boba hears that Mace survived.
Yes.
We find out that we are in orbit around Vancor. Is that the name of the planet? Is that correct?
Yes.
And so at this point, Anakin has met up with Mace, and they're kind of trying to figure out like what's going on. One of the two of them says, like the navigation department is real close to your bedroom, so maybe that was the target. And they come up to the bridge, and Admiral Killian is like, yeah, the navigation is down, so we're just kind of sitting ducks. And for some reason, I feel this came up the other week. I don't remember on what episode, where it was like, it was on Duchess of Mandalore, right? Where the navigation was taken out on the speeder, and that caused the speeder to crash.
Which didn't make any fucking sense then.
And it doesn't make any more sense now. So the ship they're on, navigation went out. So Killian says basically they're dead in space. They're sitting ducks, and on top of it, they are being pulled in. They're in the gravitational well of the planet, so they're being pulled into the planet.
Yeah.
We find more out about that later, so tease on that one. But Boba sneaks off again and contacts who he calls the Watcher, which is like the same character that he was talking to earlier. She tells him that he needs to blow up the core, and he's like the reactor core, right? He's like, but I just wanted to kill Mace. Like,
not everybody. Like, everybody else is.
It's not their
fine.
fault.
Yeah, I don't have problems with all the other people, just Mace Windu.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's fine. I understand. It's just, again, delivered awkwardly, not poorly. Just this one's awkward.
Yeah, and we can get to maybe why some of these cadets have a little bit of awkward line delivery.
Yeah.
We'll pull that up at the end. Put a pin in that one. We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
So Boba does take off to the main reactor. He gets caught by a clone.
Yeah. Another clone. Yep.
He immediately claims to be lost because that would have worked.
Like,
last
alarms
time.
are blaring, and like there was confusion, and the clone is like, no, we're like in lockdown, man. Like, so he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to find my way to the bridge. He's like, yeah, I can't let you go alone though, because protocols, man. Like, it's a protocol for everything.
So he calls for an escort. Boba at this point, like, CT-1477, who is this clone, is radioing out, and Boba looks at the blaster he's carrying, and he's like, is that a DC-15A? Or 15A, I guess is what he calls it. And the clone's like, yeah, it sure is, kid. Hands it over to him. He's like, keep the safety on. Do what you want.
Right.
So, of course, Boba attacks him with it, and then the clone's like, what the fuck, man? We're like brothers. Like, why you hitting me?
Let's be specific. He literally
pistol whips him.
Physically, attacks him with the thing. He doesn't shoot him. He just kind of holds it like a bat and just starts butting him.
He bludgeons him with it.
Yeah, he bludgeons him with the thing, which I don't know why. I just found this moment sort of funny. Like,
I think this ties into what he was saying to the Watcher, and he's like he doesn't have issue with all of the people on board.
Right.
I think this is supposed to like humanize Boba Fett. Like, Boba Fett's not a bad kid. He just had a bad dad.
Right.
And on top of that, he saw his dad murdered in front of him by a Jedi. So obviously he wants revenge on the Jedi, but the rest of the people, it's not like he's just like some murdering psychopath, right? Like, he just wants to take out Mace.
Right. He wants full revenge for just that action. But there's still something funny about, like, a little kid just kind of pistol whipping a grown man, to me, just from a pure physical comedy standpoint.
There's no way that he should have been able to overpower this droid, or overpower this clone, rather.
The number one, like, the way he has to, like, reach up just to try and bludgeon him is just visually funny to me. And this section is decently done. It's just awkwardly looking, and that's why I found this funny unintentionally, perhaps.
I will say that potentially, in all possibility, he is older than this clone.
That is true. Yeah, he could be.
But the clone is definitely more physically developed. So CT-1477, I wouldn't say he's begging for his life, but he's like, don't do this. Like, why are you doing this? You know, we're clones, we're brothers, yada, yada, yada. Don't shoot me. And Boba says, don't worry. And then he shoots him. But Blaster is set to stun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So CT-1477 is out. And at this point, Boba very deftly just blasts the fuck out of all these control panels and shit in the reactor core area.
Mm-hmm.
He takes off and boom, explosion. It blows like a hole in like the side of the ship, I guess.
Yeah. So the Anakin and Mace and Killian and a few clones are standing right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the hole rips, a couple of clones fly out. We get a Wilhelm scream right at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
If you call it that. Otherwise, Mace and Anakin
use the Force to save Killian.
Mm-hmm. Killian are all holding on. Yeah.
I will say at this point in my notes, they did switch over from Bald Guy to Killian, so Killian has been named at this point in the show.
Yeah. Because Killian names himself. This is right. So when they're coming up to Killian and Killian is telling them that the navigation system is out, he's running through a series of things that he's going to try. And Anakin and Mace are like, okay, great. Like, that sounds fantastic. What else? And then Killian says a few more things and then goes, Killian out.
Killian out.
Yeah, so then that's when I'm like, oh, there's his name. There it is.
I guess it would be more like, I can't do a Scott assassin. Don't make me
I can't. I can do like a really bad like Sean Connery accent, but
that's where I was gonna go. So what do you got? Right. Let me hear it.
I'm gonna try that. Like
Killian. That's for blasphemy.
I'm the last dragon.
Killian out.
So yeah,
terrible.
You have to put the axe in my heart. No, nobody remembers that movie.
Nah, nope. What's that one?
Dragonheart, baby.
Oh,
it was a franchise and everything, and then they got Sean Connery to franchise with the rest of the films being straight to video.
Yeah,
but it does have one of the best songs from any fucking movie or musical score that's used in fucking everything else. It's the song that you've heard in like every trailer in the 90s. It's the song that's like da 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 da. It's fucking everywhere.
Got nothing.
Yeah. It was that, and what's the other song that was in everything is gonna be Peter Gabriel. That song is in everything too, which is why I don't like Peter Gabriel. I'm gonna just reveal that right here, right now.
Fair enough.
It surprises everybody, but I cannot stand Peter Gabriel because.
Do you think Killian likes Peter Gabriel after he?
I don't think they care.
Comes back from the brink.
No. Killian definitely. I feel like Killian is definitely not a Peter Gabriel fan as well. He seems a little too hard edged for the likes of Peter Gabriel, for the softness that is Peter Gabriel.
Fair enough. Killian's pretty by the book, right?
Yeah.
He definitely does not fold under pressure. Not that I'm saying Peter Gabriel would, but Killian gets straight
like
to... He might. He gets straight back to... professionalism after having his bald ass saved by a couple of Jedi in the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that Mace and Anakin like work flawlessly together in this rescue.
Yeah.
Killian's like flying out a giant garage door size hole in the wall, and Mace just reaches out, grabs him, immobilizes him, and then Anakin is able to use, I don't know, wall armaments or structure or something to like kind of drop down like rung by rung, if on a ladder, right? And then hit the button to close this door. Whatever. I don't know. It works. And
It works.
And I thought it worked well. Killian basically immediately orders all the cadets to escape pods, and they're kind of like, what, really? Like, is it that serious? And he plays it off as training, like essentially.
Realistic training situation. Right. Yeah.
And he's like, well, if there was an emergency, this is what you would need to do. Like, I'll even time you. Like, let's see how quickly you can do this. This dude must have kids, because that's a total dad move. Like, that was fucking awesome.
He pulls it off real well.
Yeah. Like, doesn't even have to think about it. Just smooth, you know.
And he even explains it as they're getting in the pods, where he's like, yeah, we're just going to get in groups of 4. We'll just see how it goes.
Well, that's not Killian. That's the other dude. That's the other bald guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So cadets are on the way to their escape pods. I know. It's because, like, you introduced 2 new characters, and they're both bald. Like, why?
And they're both kind of doing the same thing regarding the cadets.
They totally are.
So
it's like the
relationship to the cadets is the same.
It seems like this was one character that they were like, well, why would the admiral be like walking around with these cadets? Like, we need somebody else. So then they split it into 2 people, and then we have like bald clone and bald admiral.
Killian, yeah, bald admiral, yeah.
So, yeah. Aside from that, Mace and Anakin are surveying the damage, what's going on at the reactor room, shall we call it, itself. Anakin orders R2 to prep the fighters. Says, get them ready to go. Like, we'll be there shortly. We cut over to the cadets. This is when they're entering the pods. Bald trooper divides them up and says, we need like 4 per pod or something. Like, you go there, whatever. The pods launch. Boba hits some button to like open up the flaps on the thing, which I guess derail its momentum or something, even though
I don't understand
in space
what the hell he does here.
He definitely opens like the flaps,
right? But that
somehow this
shouldn't do anything.
Somehow this modifies the trajectory. And the only thing I can think is that they are in like the very high levels of upper atmosphere, but
they're flying away,
and it wouldn't do it anyway.
Yeah,
and even if it did, then they would just be barreling like down towards the planet, not just like what. Yeah. What ends up happening is that they get essentially like lost in space, because this was enough to like alter the trajectory minutely, right? But it also made the pod stop, and they didn't make it to
also
the
made like a shit ton of stuff
point.
Yeah, so they went past the rendezvous point. They were unable to stop the pod, but also it seemed like whatever Boba did fucked up like literally every other system on the pod as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he must have done more to like sabotage it after the fact. But
we don't see it.
We definitely do not.
Yeah. So, anyways, they're like you said, lost in space is a good way to put it.
Then we go back to the bridge. Anakin is trying to order an like a ship-wide evacuation. Killian's like, I ain't going anywhere. Staying here on the bridge. Anakin's like, oh, I outrank you, like I order you to. And Killian's like, nope, my ship, my rules. Like, Admiral goes down with the ship, so you guys get the fuck out of here. I'm riding this one.
I don't understand that line of reasoning. whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
He's the captain of the Titanic, man.
Live to fight another fucking day, man. Like,
He's
the captain of the Titanic, like, he stayed on the ship because it was like they were running low on pods. There were plenty of chances to escape here, or lifeboats, I should say,
does
for
it
the
on
Titanic.
the Death Star.
Well, again, it's Tarkin's hubris of not thinking that the rebels could defeat them, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe what Killian is getting at here is that there's like, yes, the ship is crashing, but it's not crashing into a sun, right?
Right.
So if there's any possible chance that he can save the ship at all, he's going to take it.
He's going to give it a go.
I guess.
Still, I don't.
But yeah, the way he communicates, he's like, nope. An admiral goes down with his ship. Like, once you get
down with it.
Once you get to admiral, like, you either
go down.
You either go home or you die. Like, your ship either docks back, you either land or adios.
Like, it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way, but
I don't know, man. I didn't go through the Republic Academy. I mean, they threw this. This is a pretty haphazard, ad hoc fucking military in general. So to get anybody with military training, like, who knows where these guys are coming from? And this guy's already an admiral, like 2 years in.
I guess.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. So, anyways,
we cut back to the cadets. They're lost in space. They're debating their fate because all of the electrical systems are down except for like a backup power generator for life support or something. Their comms dead. Their engines are dead. Their navigation's dead. Fucking everything's dead except for they can breathe. That's it. Back to GGSD. That thing's crashing. Sergeant Crasher, who is this bald guy. The bald clone trooper is named Sergeant Crasher, calls Anakin, and he says, we lost the pod. We're missing one. So Anakin and Mace go on the search. It is to be said that they are in Jedi Starfighters docked into hyperspace rings at this point.
Yep.
So we cut back to the pod, and a ship shows up. Do we just want to name the ship?
Yeah, just name the ship.
It's Slave One. We know that Boba Fett's in this episode. Slave One shows up, docks to this pod. The cadets are very curious. Boba knows what's going on, so the door opens, and on the other side are Aurra Sing and Bosk. Bosk has no dialogue in this entire episode. Aurra is,
she is revealed to be the previous voice we had heard Boba communicate with.
She is the Watcher, as he called her. And she's like, yo, Boba, basically, come on, let's go. And he's like, oh, what are you going to do with the cadets? Because she's like, I didn't know you were going to bring friends. I thought it was just going to be you. So he asks what she's going to do with them. She says, what do you think? And he goes, you're going to let them go? This seems naive. This is naive even for the other cadets that aren't Boba Fett. Like, Boba Fett should know exactly what's going to fucking happen here.
Yeah, like, it's a weird move on Boba's. I think Boba's just trying to, like, play optimistic but, like, I don't get what he's hoping, like, Aura's gonna change her mind after seeing Boba. Like, oh yeah, I mean, if you think we should just let them go, we'll let them go. Yeah, no. She's like, no, they're living witnesses. We gotta get rid of that.
That's exactly what she calls them.
Yeah.
I think this is a writing choice, and somebody was trying to set Boba up as, like, an innocent kid, even though he's got these dark demons in his past, right?
Well, yeah,
because
like,
in the end, like, he was just a kid. It's not his fault that his dad was fucking Jango Fett, the DNA contributor to a million fucking clone troopers, right? It's not his fault that his dad was a bounty hunter, and I think that's what this is trying to show.
But, like, at the core of it, his main motivation for this episode is still to kill a guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he specifically says in this scene, like, I just wanted to kill the guy that killed my dad. I didn't want to hurt anybody else or whatever.
Yeah, and I get that there's, like, a moral line that he's trying to draw, but and I get what the writing is trying to do, and, like...
I'm not saying it works, I just think that's the attempt.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, that is the attempt being made here. I don't think it works at all.
So, so Aura is, like, super happy to just kill these cadets, like, whatever.
Right.
She's like, nope, they're disposable. I don't give a fuck about them. They're living witnesses. We need to get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
So Boba slowly walks into the pod, and the cadets are all like, can't believe this is happening, yada, yada, yada. Like, you're one of us. Why are you a traitor? And Aura makes Boba give the death sentence to them, essentially. And that is done by simply the press of a button. The door closes. The pod parts from Slave 1. Slave 1 leaves. And then for the rest of the episode, it is these cadets in this pod. Almost immediately, Anakin shows up and he's like, yo, I got your peeps. What's the guy's name? Sergeant Crasher. I found your cadets. I can't communicate with them. I can't see them. But the pod's here, so, like, come pick it up. Here's the coordinates. Then Mace shows up, and then they take off somewhere. I don't know where they're going. They're going...
There's a question...
Going planet side, maybe?
Yeah, because Crasher asks Anakin if they've received any contact from Killian, and Anakin says that they lost contact with him as soon as he entered.
So my question is, why dock to the hyperspace rings then? Like, that was the thing that Anakin was like, R2, make sure we're, like, docked to the hyperspace deals, like, ready to go or whatever.
I think it's to make sure that we don't assume that goes down with the ship. You know, like,
I never would have cared.
If the ship crashes, like, are those... Do you have to go find other rings at some point? You know? Like, are they stuck not in hyperspace until another ship comes to pick them up and then goes back to hyperspace, or delivers more rings to them?
Well,
that's the only thing I can think of there.
I don't think the rings are on the ship, though. They're not, like, on the ship. They're, like...
They were floating above it.
Yeah, they're, like, near the ship.
Yeah, but then if the ship crashed, then those rings would go down with the ship, I'm assuming. You know?
Okay, I'll buy that one. Can escape pods go through hyperspace?
I don't think so.
Then how did Yoda, who used an escape pod to leave a planet, Kashyyyk,
that's true,
get to anywhere, and then use the same escape pod to land on Dagobah?
Yeah, why was the escape
the escape pod on Kashyyyk buried under some palm fronds anyway?
Yeah. I'm sure there are a few steps in that process that we're missing, perhaps, but I don't know about that one. But yeah, in regards to the ring specifically, I only saw it as, like, pick these up in case this shit goes down and we're not lost in space ourselves.
Okay.
Right. That's
so there.
Yeah.
There are three clone cadets left on this escape pod. It's Jax and two other ones, right?
Yep.
So, one of them apologizes to Jax, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. You were right, or I was wrong, or something. I don't remember." And then there's, like, this weird, like, three-way debate. It's like, one of them says, like, how could he do that? He's just like us. Then the second one says he's not anything like us. And then Jax says, well, he is like us. At least I hope he is, because then he'll realize that he's wrong. Like, his actions are wrong. Yeah. And that's the closing dialogue to the show. So at that point, it's Iris in, cue loud music, another one bites the dust, death trap, over.
Yes, indeed.
Overall thoughts and whatever.
Yeah.
You got anything else to clear up before we get to thumbs up, thumbs down?
No, we basically covered this one throughout the episode. My main sticking point is going to be, how did nobody notice that Lucky kept slipping in and out? That's the big sticking point to me in this episode.
I agree. It's pretty convenient. I'm going to cover a couple of voice actors here. Orasing is Jamie King. We have seen her in some other episodes, and I don't remember what they were. I had a tab open with her IMDb page, and I closed it, and I don't know where it went.
But Jamie King, like from Sin City, Jamie King?
Yes, that would be it. That would be
nice.
her.
Very nice.
Admiral Killian is Julian Holloway.
Very nice.
Daniel Logan is Boba Fett and all of the clone cadets.
Very cool.
Almost all of the clone cadets.
Uh-huh.
The reason that one of them sounded so different is because it is D. Bradley Baker.
That makes sense.
And that is Dax is D. Bradley Baker. Daniel Logan, for those of you that don't know, played young Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm.
So he came back to do the voice work for these clone cadets, and that's why I'm thinking this when I said we'll talk about why maybe the voice acting isn't as solid for these guys. I don't know that Daniel Logan is a voice actor. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to bring him back and like have that authentic voice for these guys is awesome, but he's not as seasoned as, say, D. Bradley Baker, who can not just like change his voice from clone to clone, but it's nuanced instead
voice
of
acting
just
is its
different.
Own, yeah, voice acting is its own skill that everybody likes to downplay, but it's genuinely very difficult.
I saw a Clone Wars thing with some of the voice actors. It was at Celebration, and it was D. Bradley Baker, James Arnold Taylor, and Tom Kane. So, I mean, right there you have most of the cast, right?
Right.
The voice of Anakin was not there.
Matthew Wood? No.
Matt Lanter.
Lanter, yeah.
Yeah, Matthew Wood is the battle droids and Grievous.
Right.
So it was James Arnold Taylor, who is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Plo Koon, and beyond, right? Tom Kane, who is the narrator, Yularen, Yoda, and D. Bradley Baker, who is thousands of fucking clones. But James Arnold Taylor at the end of the panel, did this really awesome thing, and you can find it on YouTube, and maybe I'll try to find a link and send it over to you to include in show notes, or maybe I'll just tweet it out. I don't know. But he did this like rapid fire voice montage, right? And he did it live, and he was talking about what a voice actor has to do and what you can do with your voice and like how you manipulate your vocal cords and whatever. So there was a screen behind him that would like pop up a character.
Oh, I've seen him do that. Yeah.
And it goes from like
rapid fire of different
different voices, and one of them was Tom Kane as Yoda, and it was super fucking cool. But yeah, he does like character to character, like voice to voice, like just in conversational prose, shall we say. And it's just like boom, 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 boom from one voice to the next and the next and the next. And he's a very talented guy, and he has a very wide range of things that he can do.
Yeah.
So,
because it's not even like an issue of range or being able to do different voices. Even if you're just voicing a character in your own voice, there's still a lot of nuance that you have to be able to portray and understand the limit of what you're actually trying to do through a vocal performance.
Yeah, we don't do vocal performances on this show. We just talk.
No, we just talk.
We did a couple episodes ago talk about coming to the realization of the way that our speech mannerisms are and being aware of them.
Yes, and just trying to not be annoying or bring up a lot of filler words.
Right.
I am trying to be better about that. Surely I still use a lot of them. Right is a big one that I say a lot of, or ending my sentences with so for no reason. Something like that.
It happens.
Right. So just having a script in front of you will help get rid of some of that stuff, but then it's replaced by the weight and the emotion and the delivery system that you have to do. This is where a very good voice director will come in, right? A voice director like Andrea Romero is one of the bigger names in that. And you have to be able to direct a voice actor towards giving you a lot of different options as well. And Andrea Romero in an interview once said that, I believe she said something like, she'll give an actor about 3 or 4 takes to do something, but if they don't get her what exactly she wants, she will on occasion, but she tries not to do it, but she'll just give them a line reading where she'll say, hey, just say it exactly like this. Just go exactly this way. And most voice actors will understand, right? Because they don't know what segment they're getting fit into. Most vocal performances are being recorded by themselves. I know Clone Wars did a lot of group vocal recordings, but for a lot of bigger movies you'll be isolated, so you don't know if they had recorded somebody else already, that there might be a tone that they're trying to match, or a level of intensity per se, right? Just even a cadence that might be trying to match with somebody else. So it's one of those things that I appreciate when done very well, and I appreciate a story that makes me really happy is when The Rock did Moana. After every day, he would ask everybody genuinely, and he would even have vocal performer friends of his listen to some of his work, and he would ask honestly. He's like, look, I don't want to be that guy who just goes in and be like, yeah, voice acting's easy, I just go in and read the lines and walk away. I want to know that I'm doing good work with a vocal performance, and not just ride on thinking that I can just say this shit and walk away. You know?
Yeah, I think, and speaking of The Rock, co-star of his, I think that a good example of the nuance of voice acting is Vin Diesel as Groot.
Right, yeah.
What a challenge that guy had, and he did it well. The reason that I wanted to bring up Daniel Logan and his inexperience is because I think overall he does well in this episode. Again, what a challenge this, first time the dude does any voice acting, and he's playing 15 characters that are all supposed to be his voice, but need to be recognizable, right? So,
and he's also playing. So this episode came out in 2010. He's playing a version of himself, or a character he played 8 years prior. maybe 9 or 10 years prior, depending on how long filming took.
Right.
Right?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he's trying to age himself down so much. But he's, in his early 20s by this point?
He was born in 1987.
Yeah, so...
So in 2010, he would have been 23.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's in his early 20s trying to play a decade younger. You know? So that's a big thing to try and think about as well.
I am looking at his IMDb page. He has 14 credits. He was in 6 episodes of The Clone Wars, and he was in Sharknado 4, The Fourth Awakens. He played Captain Fett. I don't know if you have seen these
Nope.
movies. I've seen the first 3, and they are wonderful.
I'm sure.
They are delightfully terrible, and now I am looking forward to watching Sharknado 4 even more.
Fantastic.
So.
Boba Fett movie, make it happen.
I know. It needs to.
Let's see. Anyways, yeah, so...
bring back Jay Lagaya, bring back Daniel Logan.
Right.
Put Daniel Logan in Mandalorians or something. I don't know. Like, you got Nick Nolte. You can have...
Yeah.
You got Daniel Logan for the Clone Wars. Like, might as well. I don't know.
Back. Yeah. So anyways, the long rant is, I agree. I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to poo-poo on Daniel Logan, but just to accentuate how difficult it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because, there's just this weird thing about people just thinking this is an easy job to do.
Right.
You know, go into a vocal booth. But no, like, you still have to read the script. You still have to prep the script. You still have to understand the script and then deliver the script. You know, deliver the performance for the script.
Who's the guy that does the voice of SpongeBob?
Tom Kenny.
So, one anecdote that Tom Kane talked about during this panel is that for Tom Kenny to do the characteristic SpongeBob laugh, he had to, like, take his finger and, like, run it up and down across his Adam's apple, right?
Yep.
And after doing this for years and years and years, at one point he said, okay, I don't think that there is another way that I can do this, and this hurts. Like, this does physical damage to my body, so why don't you just take all of the thousands of fucking recordings of SpongeBob laughter that I have done and just use those. Like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is very intense to try and watch him do that. Mm-hmm. But I've seen, because he does it in a way where it's not just a single finger. He does like the full, like judo chop hand where he has his whole hand flat out, and he runs like his index finger up and down his Adam's apple at high rate,
up and down his throat rapidly,
very rapidly. Which I will say, I was impressed to see the now closed SpongeBob SquarePants musical, and Ethan Slater, I believe is his name, that plays SpongeBob in that show. Okay, he was able to do that laugh without the vocal, physical action that he does. So, I was impressed by that. Is it Ethan Slater? Yep, it's Ethan Slater. I got it right.
Cool.
So, but he does the laugh multiple times in that show, which was enjoyable. But anyways,
let's pull back into here. I think we have ventured out enough, and it's time to circle back around. But thumbs up, thumbs down. What's your final judgment on this?
I will give this a thumbs up.
Cool.
I think this is definitely a strong episode, despite our many complaints about little things here and there. I think on the whole, this is a very strong episode. It's fun getting Boba into the story. His motivations make sense. There's, again, the little details around the lines he draws that bother me. But overall, I think the idea of this episode is a good idea and it's well executed. There definitely could be things here and there that could be tightened up, but on the whole, I think this was a very well done episode. It's very the episode is very tightly told. There's not a wasted moment per se. There's not really a plot A, plot B here. It's very much just a one shot straight through sort of thing. My notes were very light on this episode. In fact, mostly it was more reactionary, like what is happening here, like questions that I had. Because really, like, the story was very succinct in this one. I like that point of it.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a shorter episode for us, which is fine because I agree with you. This is one of those episodes that almost happens in like real time. Like I can imagine that from the beginning of this episode to the end of the episode doesn't take much longer than an hour of these cadets' lives, right? So it's concise. It works. I give this one a thumbs up as well, for all the same reasons that you did. It's a fun episode to watch.
Yes.
I love Aurra Singh as a character for whatever reason. I think she's great. I don't know. I don't know why. I've got no defense of my love for Aurra Singh.
That's fine.
Much the way that I have no explanation of my love for Cad Bane. But they're both two awesome characters that I was really happy to see pop up in the Clone Wars. And I think it's really cool that Daniel Logan was brought back to continue working on this character that he was able to do as a youth. And he has totally embraced being young Boba Fett. And
absolutely
continues with that. So, yeah, thumbs up for me. Next week, what do we got next week? R2 Come Home.
Very nice.
What we're coming into. So, that's all I've got for this week.
Yeah. So, as usual, you can reach out to us on notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com. Kevin's in charge of our Twitter @NotTheNerds. I run our Facebook, which is @NotTheNerdsPodcast. As always, want to give a shout out to Lindsay @StrangeFantasyMusic@gmail.com. She put together the jingle you hear at the beginning and end of every episode. And we always like to thank Kevin Warren, who put together the cover art, which... if you want to reach out to him, Twitter @TheyCallMeKdub is the way to do that. As always, you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you're listening to us. Subscribe, like, please, review us, let us know what you think. Also available on YouTube. The audio only is going up. So, yeah. Anything else there, Kevin?
No, I mean, it's January 2nd, 2019, so 2018 is behind us. Hopefully everybody is looking forward to a great and positive 2019. We start this year out with a double thumbs up from us. Yeah. Like I said, next week is R2 Come Home. That's Season 2, Episode 21. So until then, I've been Kevin.
Lorenzo here.
These aren't the nerds you're looking for.
Bye-bye.